Roland Caros, which 460 aviators, air trip did he make? And it was over the Mediterranean Sea.
I have no idea. So
Me neither. But the first person got it right, so I came back after that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And thanks, Jonathan, for getting me plugged in again.
Oh, you're welcome.
I guess I am recording this right now, so.
Okay, so we'll be careful.
Okay.
Good Jeopardy quiz.
Thanks for allowing me, Jonathan.
The other selectman must be seeing Jeopardy through to the end.
He still has two. There he is.
There he is.
Hey, folks.
Hey.
Right
How
on.
you doing?
Hello.
Good. Hello.
Hello.
Howdy.
Yeah.
You're alive.
I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm well. Yes.
Good.
Back in the saddle.
Great.
It was great. It was great to watch the meeting and how well the board did without me. It's always good to feel it's fun to feel you're indispensable, but find out actually you can fill in. So anyway, it was good to watch how everything was handled and good. Yeah. So what time do we have? We have a
straight down.
Oh, we have
Minute.
Yeah, we have dueling Zoom meetings. We have the Cornwall ambulance Zoom meeting going on upstairs. So if you hear noise, it's all for a good thing. They seem to be
Seems to be having a great time.
laughing. That's a good thing. What?
They seem to be having a
Yeah.
great time.
They are. There's a lot of laughing going on up there. So yeah. Okay.
All right, 7:30. It just happened. So.
7:30.
Great.
Ready to go. Okay. So I'll call the meeting to order. First thing is approval of the minutes, November 17th. Is there a motion to approve those?
I move we approve those.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
All right. Well done. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have public comments. Any comments from the public? Going once, going twice.
Oh, Joanne has her
Go.
hand up.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Oh, nice to see you back. I hope you're feeling better.
I am. Thank you.
Good. When the meeting was run last time, there was, it seemed to be agreement. The Internet Access Committee would be putting their minutes up and making their meetings open after we had some discussion of Dr. Elsting. She'd pay the $500 rather than ask the board for money. And we talked about how that would set a terrible example of wealthy people able to get around or buy their way around transparency rules. So I wasn't able to find the minutes online and I wondered whether I missed them. And if I did, tell me where to find them. But if I didn't, I hope that the board will not encourage this kind of occurrence in the future by accepting input from any group that's not willing to be open and transparent in their interactions. So I just hope the board will consider that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? That communications. See, my only communications is that the food fund did get a lot of contributions this week. totaling over $10,000 for its necessary work. And I know that was sparked by the talent show that was put together by Fred Taylor and the Town Hall Players. And again, a good showing of that. And there's a lot of good talent displayed there. So again, thanks to them for providing entertainment, and thanks for people for responding so generously for the appeal. So that was my only communication. Any other communications?
No.
Okay. Next, we have COVID-19 coronavirus update.
Sorry, do we
Which
have
is
any
still-
additions to the agenda?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, any additions to the agenda? Priscilla?
No?
Not from,
Okay.
yeah, sorry, just wanted to check.
Right. I didn't have any, but thanks for catching that, Marina. So into the COVID-19, again, that's the issue that's dominating the news cycle here, and is certainly in our front, has all our attention at this point. The town, even though the numbers are fairly small, a significant increase in positive test results in the last week, to the point where we're one of the few towns now that is not in the red zone. I would expect by the time all the testing gets settled, the end of the week and recorded, that we could easily be in a red zone for the first time, which does have some implication to us as far as if we go to the red zone, then every week we're in the red zone. I have to make a decision whether to back to a level 2 restriction for activities in town, which mostly deals with restaurants and businesses. It's not huge impact. It does limit social gatherings somewhat more restrictively. But anyway, I think it is significant that a month ago, there were only 19 towns with that designation. Currently, there are over 150 out of the 169 towns. Most of the towns that are not in that are in our area. Anyway, we've been following very closely for the last week, trying to sort out some of the test results because a lot of information is coming through. Some tests are attributed to Cornwall or not in Cornwall because of our postal zone configuration and the amount of tests the state's processing. And of course, some of the tests, if they're coming here from other towns, some of our tests are going to other towns too. So, but just in what we're seeing right now, we are seeing an increase in positive tests here. We did have a town employee, part-time employee in the town office test positive on Monday, yesterday. So redoubled our efforts to restrict access to the town hall. People are being tested in consultation with their healthcare providers. So it's certainly hitting very close to home at this point. And we ask everybody to redouble to do the basics we've been talking about as far as social distance, as far as wearing masks, and as far as using hand sanitizers and others, because it's certainly, we're not alone in this, but we were spared a lot of this in the spring, and we're not going to be spared this time around. So again, we're going to pay very close attention to that. And follow that. The management group is still meeting every Wednesday to talk about how this is all evolving and making sure we're doing as much as we can to keep everybody safe. Let's see what else. So I did actually have some conversations with regional and state people this week. I talked to, had a Zoom meeting with the governors, some of the governor's staff people, and I did push them to make sure we have adequate testing sites out here. I know that's been a concern as the amount of testing needs go up, that we have adequate facilities here. So some are working on that, and they are looking to get increased testing in the more rural areas.
Sorry, who?
So
I'm sorry, I missed
that's one thing.
who you were talking with for that.
This is the governor's staff, the people that
Got
are
it.
making decisions of how the resources are being allocated.
Got it.
So that was, and again, one of the, I think the best parts of living in Connecticut is that we do have really good information flows between the local towns, the regional authorities, like the health district, and then going up into the state level. They are responsive, they know where we are, and they are responding to our concerns. So that was the governor's staff. Again, I have some other things that the comments pertain to, but they are looking at, especially the hospitalization rates are a very key factor. So they're looking at the capacities and whatever we can do. As I wrote in my letter, Sharon Hospital is a great facility, but I would urge everybody to try to stay out as much as possible to give them the room and space they need for people that are critically ill. And what else? Oh, then I did have a conversation with Congresswoman Johanna Hayes on Monday, who wishes all her friends and constituents out here well. And she said they are working at, they're going back to for the next 2 weeks to try to get a new stimulus COVID relief package passed before the holidays. There seems to be some momentum in that way because we're especially concerned about, from a social service standpoint, people losing employment benefits and a bunch of other things. So she is aware of trying to get adequate resources for testing and first responders, hospitals, as an increased aid coming out of this relief package. So again, we are not forgotten here, and there does seem to be good cooperation between the state and federal delegations to try to get, a program going as soon as possible. So those were encouraging conversations, but I don't think anybody's underestimating that the next month probably going to be the toughest and things. So I don't. That's what I had. Does the board have any questions about all that? I mean,
No, very clear.
so, okay. So then next on to Internet Committee, the board did get a nice letter from Gary Stein, cold last week, and it's addressed to the board. He did an admirable job running the BOS meeting last night. Not an easy job, but running high. The Cornwall Internet Committee discussed our funding request to the BOS and added a question about health service to our survey. We are rescinding our request to the BOS for funding for the survey, and we will add a cell service quest to the survey. When the survey results are ready, we will share them with the entire town. Hope you are, and stay with Gary. So that is more or less what I had to report on the Internet Committee. I think there are people here attending from the committee. It's my feeling, I'm glad they are asking about they are asking things about cell service, and I think they're going to get the survey out fairly quickly, and we'll await what that tells us. I think the town of Barkhamsted just completed a similar survey, found people wanted, better service, which I think we sort of know that going into this, but how it all transpires is will be interesting. I did. The only other thing I thought I'd mention was I did ask the governor's staff people, because this is one of broadband is one of the issues that came up at our meeting with our council of small town representatives. And I did ask the governor's staff to try to get an answer from the cable providers as far as what is their schedule for replace coaxial cable lines with fiber optic, because that has been mentioned but not confirmed. So they said they do want to get all the people in the room and start talking about what people's plans are, because there is a patchwork right now throughout the state as far as different systems and different proposals. So again, they you know, COVID is cast on shadow, but this is on their list. It is certainly a priority of the of the governor to improve service. So again, if the state will have a little more leverage than our small towns in getting answers as far as what our plans and possibilities there. So that's all I had for that issue. Anything else from the board on that?
No,
Everything's good. Wastewater, Cornwall wastewater program. I just wanted to put that on to let people know that is, you know, a priority for 2021. We did try to get things further down the road in 2020. We got farther, but we fell short. And I think, you know, basically because of the whole voting question, and now thinking of having a referendum next week would be not the best. So again, that's sort of our holdup, and there's also work on the state and regional level to see how we hybrid decisions, and that's one thing that's out there too, which sort of goes into our budget season schedule as far as what will be the budget process and what will be the approval process of major town decisions. So that's still being worked on at the state level. I believe Town of Goshen had a virtual town meeting 2 weeks ago, which I think went well from most people's perspective. They didn't have a major appropriation on the docket. So again, we have some more time to work on that, and I would expect the committee to start again early in 2021. So want to put that out there. Vacancies, we have published some openings in the Chronicle. We've heard back from some people. Jonathan did job canvassing the incumbents, and it's my thought that we have heard from some people that new people that want to be on some case. We're still hearing from more people, but it's my thought we should reappoint the people that have served successfully on these committees. We have 4 people, just to make sure those committees can stay functioning while we work our way filling them back up. So with that in mind, I would say I would make a motion that we appoint Kate Frygang to the Conservation, Aaron Berry to Park and Rec, Wendy McFarland to Park and Rec, and Simon Hewitt to the Economic Development Committee. Second to that idea?
There's a second.
Any discussion? Again, if there are people, there are vacancies, I believe, on Lynn's Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals. Dick Sears did not re-up to EDC, so there's an opening on EDC. People interested. We do have a couple of people that have volunteered, but if there are more out there, just let us know what your interest, qualifications are, and we can continue work on filling that in the next month. So, did we vote on that? No. So, anyway, so any more discussion?
No.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. So we thank those people for volunteering for another round. We have we have budget season coming up next month with the start of the new year. The Board of Finance is working on some preliminary planning issues to look at what some of the fiscal factors are in determining the budget, such things, state revenue, growth of grand lists, projected school enrollments. Those are all things we'll look at early in the season. It did come up at our meeting with the governor's staff this afternoon also, as far as trying to get us state rep members as early as possible, because sometimes the legislature, especially a new legislature, can take until June to budgets passed, and we usually vote on our budgets in May. So so we are pushing to try to get those numbers together. And of course, the COVID thing has caused increased expenses for the state. We are lucky that the legislature did build up its rainy day in the last 2 years. So they have some reserves there, more than they've had in years past. So there is a push to those numbers as early as possible. And we'll get going, putting our letters out, getting our letters back for budget requests, estimates early next month. So normally we'll meet with highway and fire people, rescue people. We'll get some estimates on building repairs, that kind of thing. And so capital projects, bridges, work programs, all those start coming together in January. So anticipate a busy month as far as that goes. Anything else? Everybody's planning in January?
I think so.
Good winter sport. Yeah. Okay, so I spoke, but I think that's all I had on our agendas for now. Any other on that from the board?
No, I'm all set on my end. Thank you.
Yeah. So, comments?
Yes. Gordon, it's really difficult to communicate with the Board of Selectmen when I didn't ask for an answer when I made my comments about the refusal of the Internet Committee apparently to abide by open and transparent guidelines. But I mean, how does a citizen get a response from the Board of Selectmen? I mean, do you guys endorse their failure to post an agenda, post minutes, open their meetings on Zoom? And aren't you concerned that it sets a bad example going forward? I just think, I mean, if you agree with doing, I think you should tell us. What are you going to do about it?
Well, again, we're like most people smarter if we have some advance notice of what people's questions are. So I think if people want to communicate with us effectively, it's probably good to send us emails, which I then send on to the other board members. Particularly, as I said before, I think that most organizations that are working on public issues, especially ones that may have financial impact to the town, I see as much of those meetings open as possible. But again, we do have private organizations in town, whether they be the library or the child center or whatever, that, you know, those meetings aren't necessarily open and broadcast to the public. I'd say this issue itself is quite a bit different than those two organizations, because those are ongoing, fairly narrow focused organizations that do things day in, day out, year in, year out. Just want to make the point, there are private organizations a lot in town that benefit, and those aren't necessarily bound by the same rules that we as a board are. I like our rules. Again, we're somewhat different though. We are public officials. We are spending public money. We have rules and regulations that force us to do things in the daylight, which I'm always in favor of. And I think it's a policy question that will come before the board sooner rather than later, and we will have a bunch of questions as far as the issue to ask. So again, I think those conversations are going to happen fairly soon, I would think, and we'll have a lot of conversations that we will ask, as will other people. So again, I don't want to, public comment is supposed to be just that. I mean, if somebody has a public comment about a town issue, that's a great use of that. If people want to have more detailed things to share with the board, by all means, send us an email. But we're not here really to have debates between members of the public. This isn't really public forum time. If people want to make individual comments, they're within certain boundaries as far as that. I like people talking about issues, not about each other, because we all have our own faults and peculiarities. Anyway, I see Gary there with another.
Sorry. But
yes.
So Joanne, you had written Priscilla and earlier about the fact that a request had not been met. That was never actually the case in our last selectmen's meeting. I had said from the board perspective, if we were to give funding, we would request Zoom access and minutes to the meeting. The Internet Committee then rescinded their request funding. The Board of Selectmen did not vote on funding for this committee. So I just wanted to clarify that point, because it's not that we're not listening to everybody or taking one to account. That just was never on the table vis-a-vis the last meeting. We didn't vote on anything about funding or anything for the Internet Committee. So to clarify that.
I think you did clarify that, because it was my impression that you and Priscilla, and the reason I addressed that note to the two is because Gordon wasn't running that meeting, was my apparently mistaken impression that you were in favor of open and transparent meetings in general, and did not take well to Dr. Tamel's suggestion she would simply pay for it and avoid public input, which I found very offensive as a citizen.
I don't think we spoke on that. I don't think we spoke on Anna Tamel's message. I think we spoke on that. But anyway, I just wanted to clarify that that was the way we left it in the last meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gordon, can you go over the appointments one more time, please? The appointments?
Oh, the appointments, yes.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, the appointments in slower speed are
Right.
Kate Frygang. These are all people that are being reappointed. Kate Frygang to the Conservation Commission, Aaron Berry to the Park and Recreation Commission, Wendy McFarland to Park and Rec, and Simon Hewitt to the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else in the queue, John?
Casey.
Just wanted to extra special compliments to Heather Deneen and the phenomenal work that she has been doing. I had the privilege of working last weekend with her. She put together not only usual support for families that need food from the regular food pantry, but she added on to that 30 families worth of Thanksgiving meals. The joy of working with her, to see her put that all together, and she is a terrific resource for the town. And I just wanted to make sure you all were aware of that. I'm sure you are anyway. Wanted to reiterate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. In these tough times, it's not, you can't give enough to the people that are really making a difference, or underestimate the stress that certain families are under in these times. And again, to have served 130 people, Thanksgiving, a little extra is really a nice thing. So anyway, thank you for helping her out and bringing that up. Great. And we'll try to keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other public comments?
Caroline?
I'd like to follow up with what Joanne was saying, because in terms of I think there was a statement that you guys are listening to everybody, but I've tried by email, so I've contacted you ahead of time by email to ask that we do that there be an opportunity for people to come speak about the Northwest Connect Municipal Fiber Optic Plan that's being promoted by the Internet Committee, that come and provide some due diligence, which I think would be very beneficial for the community to hear, since the municipal fiber optic plan that's being proposed, as I've said before, would require every single person in Cornwall to contribute thousands of dollars to the effort. And I think at the very least, it would be helpful for those people to hear kind of what the downside of that might be and what the elements of it are that are problematic. I consider problematic and other experts do. We also, Steve Simonin appeared before this group and offered to come and speak as an expert on this issue of the Board of Selectmen. And to my knowledge, that was no one followed up with him. So when you say that you're listening to everyone, I would differ with that. The only people that have been allowed to come speak before you have been the Internet Committee, and no one else has. And not only that, when I've raised issues and try to get this kind of due diligence started by the Board of Selectmen, you as the Board of Selectmen have publicly libeled me and in an attempt to try to discredit me and to try to silence that information, to try to silence me from conveying that into the public. It's sending a message, like I said before, to the entire community of Cornwall and beyond, that this is a committee that the Board of Selectmen that does not operate a democratic way and that is not operating in a way that benefits the entire community. So I agree that it's impossible if you email and you don't get a response, if you speak at a Board of Selectmen and you don't get a response, how are people ever supposed to bring issues of importance to the community before the boardman?
Okay, well, there are a lot of accusations and there, and again, I'm not one to engage people on talking about each other. I don't think the Board of Selectmen has any actions on people.
I'm referring.
And please let me finish.
There's no accusation.
I'm not going to get into a big or debate with you.
When you accuse these of being an accusation, I'm talking about the statements that were made by the second selectman, Priscilla Covell, on the Cornwall Community Network as part of her view from the seat. So specifically, I'm referring to those statements in which she claimed that the statements that I made, and this is a quote, were lies. So that they're not accusations. I'm actually saying that she claimed that the statements that I made at a meeting were lies. And I was raising concerns about an issue of importance to the community.
Yeah, but those statements did not come from the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you. And
that came from an individual.
I made that very clear in our last Selectmen's meeting.
Right. And my feeling is this committee was launched and they are trying to gather data. And before we can debate their conclusions, I would like them to gather their data, make their conclusions, and then we can all discuss their conclusions. But to have a separate committee, I mean, you can form whatever committee, anybody can organize whatever they want, but I think to have a rational discussion that this committee has a program where they're going to gather data, they're going to get some conclusions or some recommendations to the selectmen and to the community. At that point, there'll be a very broad discussion of what options are out there. But I'm not in, I mean, and again, the Board of Selectmen didn't create this committee, but I think they are proceeding in a way that is sensible as far as gathering some information that will be useful, and then there'll be plenty of opportunity, and I can assure you there'll be plenty of discussion. And when we had a meeting before this committee was started, I think a year ago, July, we did have a variety of different people that didn't all agree on issues, so of this internet expansion options. And I would expect whatever forum we have, there will be a variety of opinions expressed. But again, I would hope that the discussion would be accurate and not accusatory. And people can advocate, they can advocate for their own positions all they want as individuals. But
so would you clarify, are you then condoning the behavior second selectman, or are you not condoning it?
I'm not going to comment on that because that's not, that was not a piece of information that came from the Board of Selectmen.
But
So again, and I'm not going to get into
I know,
debate
but
with
she
you
represented
because
it, she called it her view from the seat, so I don't understand how that's not representing the Board of Selectmen. I mean, if she wasn't
Because-
doing it as a private citizen, so I would just like some clarity on that.
I believe a view from the seat is exactly that. It's her own particular of what happens at our meeting. It's not, doesn't say the report from the Board of Selectmen. We have a newsletter that comes out. It's a separate thing. So is there any more?
Yes, Johan would like to speak. I sit on the
Johan.
I sit on the Internet Committee, and I would like to say that at this point, there is no plan. There's not a Northwest Connect plan. There's not an Internet Committee plan. As Gordon has pointed out, we are at this putting together a survey. We're expected to come out in January. We are collecting information. At some point, we do expect to put a proposal, a recommendation, we're not even sure yet what that would be, before the town. I am sure at that point we will have a vigorous discussion, a vigorous and open discussion about the merits and maybe liabilities or costs of that. And then we will either proceed as a town as is with modifications or not at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussions, comments? And again, we've been advised by people that are from the Freedom of Information Agency of how do you conduct a public meeting, not to get into debates, to allow debates between citizens or get in debates with citizens during public comment. It's supposed to be, here's my statement, that's where we're at. So any other comments, public comments?
No.
Okay, so that's it. Okay, so anyway, then I think that's the end of the agenda. Motion to adjourn.
I move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and I'm glad you're feeling better.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Stay well.